Okay, so first and foremost, one of the reasons you may want to keep an African cichlid tank is because of the color. Africans, one of the interesting reasons as to why they have so much color is that they, as a freshwater fish, is because they actually evolved from saltwater fish. Because Lake Malawi actually used to be a body of salt water. To the untrained eye, if you guys had guests over who knew nothing about fish, they will often mistake African cichlids for saltwater fish. The other reason is they are very hardy. These guys are very hardy fish. The only thing that really kills them a lot of the times is aggression towards one another. However, there are ways around this, such as habitat enrichment, lowering the temperature, etc. But I'm going to maybe talk about that in another detailed video. But at the end of the day, there's ways around the aggression if you set up the tank properly and you select the species properly, etc. so forth. Feeding them, in my opinion, feeding African cichlids is probably the most entertaining fish to feed because they have a ravenous appetite. They're aggressive eaters. It's always fun to watch them eat. They will eat all kinds of stuff like pellet. They'll eat the pellets really quickly. They'll pick away at algae wafers. They'll pick away on food tabs that stick on the glass. And any kind of homemade food or even rapashi, they will tear that apart. And it's always entertaining to watch them eat. The next reason would be that you can do different styles of African cichlid aquariums. You can do all kinds of styles with them. You can do, if you do a good job at selecting the species, of course. You can do an all Mbuna tank, which is always fun because you get to see them coming in and out of the rock work. If you make like a very cluttered rock work aquarium. What's interesting about some of the Mbuna species is that they can actually change color once they reach sexual maturities. So like the Psilocys, for example, the females are all yellow, and then when the males reach sexual maturity, they'll turn blue. So that's always entertaining to watch. If you get them at a smaller size, you could do an all hap and peacock tank, which is always amazing because they have really crazy colors. The Mbunas have a lot of color, but the peacocks and the haps kind of have some original colors that you won't necessarily see with the Mbunas. You can go to the Tanganyikan side of things and you can make a Tanganyikan tank, which they have very interesting behavior. So what they lack in color, they make up for shape, size, and behavior. And finally, you can do a mix of all of these different species. You can do a Mbuna tank with haps and peacocks. You could even put in some certain species of Tanganyikan cichlids in there. If you have a larger aquarium, and you can mix all these different species together if you set up the tank properly. So in all, they're easy to care for. The final reason would be that they're easy to care for. All you really need to make your life easy when keeping African cichlids is to overfilter your tank and to do a lot of water changes. With a Python or auto water change system, this makes things very easy. As I mentioned earlier, it is the closest thing to getting a saltwater aquarium with it being freshwater, with the ease of freshwater. So you can change the water, you don't have to add any salt. Although cichlids do like salt and they can handle a lot of salt, so you can add salt in there, but it's not necessary as long as you've got certain substrates and rock structure that can buffer the water. African cichlids are also a lot hardier than saltwater fish. They're not as expensive as saltwater fish. So if you're looking for something that has a ton of color, that's hardy, that's interesting, that's active, then maybe you should give a shot at starting an African cichlid tank. I promise if you give it a shot and you put in the effort and the time, you're going to love them.